In this episode, it's really for first-time home buyers, and I want to talk about the 5 people that need to be on your Yay team.
Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day.
No. This is Jennifer J. Hammond. I'm so excited. I love being able to teach you things that'll help you make good decisions in real estate. So this episode, we're going to talk about building your Yay team. And I call it your Yay team. I used to call it your A team, and now I call it your Yay team because every single person on your Yay team should help you say yay every single day. And what I realized is that none of us can be an expert in everything. And so as first-time home buyers, and this one is specifically for first-time home buyers, there is another more advanced Yay team that I'll teach about in another episode. But in this episode, it's really for first-time home buyers. And I want to talk about the 5 people that need to be on your Yay team. And we can talk about in other episodes, and we'll go into much more detail about the questions. I have created 17 questions that you should ask every single person that you interview to be on your Yay team. And why I've done that is because so often I've realized that people don't take the time to interview their experts. And so they're taking advice from somebody who might not be the right person for them. So let's first of all go over the people that should be on your Yay team as a first-time home buyer. So number 1, you want to have a licensed real estate agent who is your buyer broker. And we can go into what a buyer broker agreement is later on, but you're basically looking for somebody who is a licensed real estate agent, preferably a realtor, because a realtor is someone who is held to a higher level of ethical standards and standards in general than just a regular licensed real estate agent. And not all licensed real estate agents are equal, shall we say it that way? And so it's really important to understand who you're working with. There are different variations of licensing. There's salesman, there's the broker's license, but then there's also, depending on what state you're in, there's all sorts of other kinds of limited licenses that are being offered out there, and they're not all equal. And I just want to make sure you understand that. The same is going into new sales, new construction, home sales. If you walk in there, the person that you're talking to is someone who's working for the seller, the builder. They're working for the other side. They're not working for you or in your best interest. And so it's really important to understand the difference, especially as a first-time home buyer. So number 1, you want to go ahead, and there's these 5 people that you want to build on your first-time home buyer Yay team. And I think it's so important that when you think about who are the people that you're going to take advice from, you actually take the time to interview them. And again, in a further episode, we'll talk more about the exact questions that you should ask. And of course, you can get those PDFs for free on my website at jenniferjhammond.com, jenniferjhammond.com. There are 17 questions that I recommend that you ask a real estate agent before you decide to hire them to represent you as a buyer's agent. You want to make sure that they're actually representing your interests in the deal, which is very different from the seller side. Again, a completely different conversation. So 5 people that you want to be on your Yay team. Number 1 is the real estate agent. Make sure that they're licensed, and secondly, you want to see if they actually belong to organizations like the National Association of Realtors, and they're realtors. So they're held to a higher standard of ethics and, professional standards. We want to make sure that the people that we're working with are representing us and putting your best foot forward when they're representing you in a real estate transaction. So number 2, the second person that is really important that you are hiring to give you advice is your home inspector. And when you're buying a home, you want to interview a home inspector. Again, I have 17 questions and you can get those PDFs for free. I'm really interested in you having the information you need to make good decisions in real estate. And part of that is being able to interview your home inspector. Not all home inspections are made equal. I have full episodes just on home inspections and all the different variations of inspections that are out there, because there's mold inspections. There are inspections about lead-based paint. There are inspections about radon gas. There's all sorts of different inspections, which are different from just a regular general home inspection. When you're purchasing a property, the home inspection that is very commonly done. And sometimes it's not done. There's a pre-offer home inspections. There's all sorts of different variations of home inspections. And so I want to make sure that you know that you should interview the company that you decide on. And you're probably going to want to interview a couple different companies until you decide. One of the key parts about that is actually understanding that you should get a copy of the home inspection report sample, a sample, so that you know what to expect when you actually do your home inspection. Not everybody, not every company it does the same thing with their home inspections, and the reports are not the same. They don't inspect the same amount of items. And it's really important to understand what you're getting. Like, you might need a specialty inspection, but you might also just need to make sure that they're going to inspect the roof if it's a house. And this might be a company that their policy is they do not inspect roofs. So I want to make sure that you've taken the time to understand that this company will inspect these items, but they're not going to inspect these other items over here. So make sure that you have really looked at that. So again, we're talking about the 5 people that you want on your yay team. And the first one is the licensed real estate agent, hopefully being held to a higher standard and actually holding a title like realtor. And also the second person on your team is your home inspector. Interview the home inspector, make sure that they're giving you the report that you need and that makes you happy, gives you the information you need to be able to make, again, good decisions in real estate. Okay, and number 3 on your yay team for first-time home buyers is the money person. Who is the lender? Who is going to be the money here? And I also have episodes fully on going through first-time home buyer mortgages, zero down. If you're having trouble with your credit, there's episodes about credit. You want to make sure that you really are understanding the basics that help you make good decisions when it comes to the mortgage. Because again, the mortgage is really, really important. And I'm going to take a little bit of a side street here, because I want to make sure, as every first-time home buyer should, is that you know that there is so many ways to leverage OPM, other people's money. Why is that important? Other people's money is so important because that is the way so much wealth has been created for generations and generations. And I want to make sure you understand that. So when you're looking at your different mortgage lenders, you want to make sure you find a mortgage lender who is very passionate about educating you. Again, I have 17 questions that you can ask your mortgage lender. And those are really important to make sure that you're asking the questions, but you're also establishing a rapport with somebody to make sure this is somebody who, number 1, communicates the way you want to be communicated with. Number 2, is interested in educating you and is not just rushing through and just trying to get another deal closed. You want somebody who's really interested in you and your goals. And number 3 is someone who is willing to have a long-term relationship with you. Again, it is not just one transaction and done. You really want someone who's interested in you. So very much a different viewpoint than a lot of times when you first have thought about the lender. Oh, they're only there while I'm getting this loan. Well, not necessarily. This is going to be the person you want to go back to and be comfortable asking about refinancing, if a refinance is a good thing for you, but also just to be someone who can help educate you on mortgages in general, because mortgages, they're money, they're a financial instrument that is so often overlooked, the power of that instrument, and it can be good or it can be bad. As you know, it could go the bad way with foreclosure. So we want to make sure that you're getting into a mortgage that good days, bad days, you're comfortable with. And that's one of the biggest people, or I should say not biggest, but the most important person on your team is your money person, this mortgage lender who really is going to have a relationship with you. If it's not a relationship where you feel comfortable, because the other part about that is that you need to feel comfortable to have a conversation about money that you may never have ever had before. And so often we're told not to talk about money and we keep it a secret. And unfortunately, that secret, sometimes I've heard the saying, you're only as sick as your secrets. Sometimes keeping money and the knowledge about money secret does really prevent you from moving forward. It prevents you from reaching for more. It prevents you from being able to make good decisions with your real estate, but also good decisions just financially with your money. You have the power to make such good decisions. You have the power to leverage OPM, other people's money, and actually move forward in a way that is going to help you. And you could create a legacy if you really master this. So even as a first-time home buyer, I want you to think big and think bigger and bigger and bigger, because you could become a real estate mogul. You could own lots of real estate. You could have passive income from your rental properties. You have that ability, but you want to start with a solid foundation of building your team. And as I said, the first three people that we've talked about is the licensed real estate agent. Also, it is your home inspector, who is the person who is going to be your home inspector. And then three, we've been talking about your money, your money person. That money person is really going to be important. And again, one of the biggest things is that you feel safe asking questions. And I'm just going to go on a story really fast, a short story about, I've seen a lot of my clients over the years who I met them when they were first-time home buyers. And then later on, they decided to get married. And so they're like, okay, I want to get rid of the first one and I want to move on to the second one. Or they took the first property that they purchased and then that one became a rental. And then when they decided to get married, they decided to go ahead and buy a second one. And now the mortgage conversation is very different because you have two people. And then unfortunately, I've seen the cycle as it goes forward where someone is in the middle of a divorce and then they have to make the decision, okay, so now this is a very different conversation that they need to have with their money person, their mortgage person. And so through the good times, the bad times, the changes in life, or quite frankly, I've also seen it where a spouse has passed away. And so now the mortgage isn't as affordable as it had been before. So that's a really important one to think about, is whoever you decide to work with on your mortgage, to make sure that you are really working with somebody that you feel comfortable having financial conversations, confidential conversations, but also conversations that might come across things that could be tough to talk about, whether it's your credit score that took a hit because there was a time when you had stress in your life and then you didn't live up to your responsibilities, or is it because there's a job change and something's happened and changed for you? Whatever that is, we want to make sure that you are having that opportunity to really have an open communication, an open dialogue with your mortgage person. So it's really important that you trust your mortgage person. Again, this is about building your team. So who is it that'll make you feel comfortable with talking about money and talking about mortgages, the good times, the bad times, but really you want to make sure that you're comfortable talking about it. So important with whatever you're doing. So now let's figure out who are the other people that you need on your A team. So I promised 5 people. Now, again, there's an advanced version of this where you need 10 people, but as a first-time home buyer, there's really 5. And number 1, of course, is your licensed real estate agent. And the person who's representing you, not the seller's agent. Number 2, who is it that's going to help you inspect your home, that home inspector? And is that an inspection that you're really comfortable with? Are there other inspections that you want to have in addition to just the general home inspection? Number 3, what about your mortgages, your money person? Who is it that you're going to feel comfortable with having that conversation and asking those questions? And are they interested in helping you with education and understanding, increasing your knowledge about money and mortgages? Okay, number 4 is your insurance person. I know you've probably never thought about that before, but now it's time to have an insurance person who can look at all of your insurance needs. And that's not just about the house, because you are going to be required to get a certain amount of insurance, but there's other parts of insurance that are not just, oh, I need like you may have had renter's insurance and now you're becoming a homeowner. And so now you need homeowner's insurance. But there's aspects about that homeowner's insurance that you really need to understand, and not just calling up of a 1-800 number that you might be the same insurance company as your car insurance. This is when you really want to have a professional and you can have a new understanding about insurance that you maybe never have looked at before, because there's all sorts of different aspects. Again, I don't want to go too far down into the weeds about insurance, but as a first-time home buyer, it's really important that you have these 5 people, and one of them is your insurance expert. It's somebody who, again, is going to help you understand what are your choices in insurance. And the one thing I also want to say is that it's important not to be foolish about, I guess, 2 things. Number 1, thinking, oh, that could never happen to me, because it'll be amazing how you somehow have that horrible tragedy happen to you. And think about also, what are the other possibilities with it? Do you need an umbrella insurance policy? Do you need an insurance policy that will cover if one of your friends comes over, a neighbor comes over and slips and falls in your house? You want to think about, what does that mean, best case and worst case scenario with insurance. And again, that's not always that simple. So make sure you understand insurance. Okay, so now we've talked about 4 of the 5 people that I recommend for you as you are a first-time home buyer. So number 1 was the real estate agent. Number 2 was your home inspector. Number 3 was your money person. Number 4 was your insurance. And number 5, legal, your attorney. And in many different jurisdictions, like in Washington, D.C., that attorney a lot of times is in your title company. So this is going to be kind of twofold. Number 1, and then there are places like New York where you have 3 attorneys. You have one that represents the buyer, one that represents the seller, and then you have one that represents the transaction. So 3 attorneys. Then there are places like Washington, D.C., where you can just have a title agent, and it's not necessarily an attorney for the closing and all the paperwork. It is really important that you have that person that you trust, even if it's an agent. I highly recommend that you take it that one step further and that you interview, again, 17 questions to interview your insurance person, to interview your title agent or your real estate attorney. Make sure you have that person that you can ask about title questions, meaning, do you have the right to that title? Will you have full ownership? They pop up all the time, and it's so important that you understand what are the good, the bad, and the ugly, kind of like predicting. How do you predict a hurricane, or how do you predict a terrible storm that's going to wipe out your house? And when you're looking at your insurance, do you want to look at how awful that could be? And what do I need to do to help protect myself in that realm? The same thing with your legal professional. Is this a title agent? Is it a real estate attorney? Again, I highly recommend it being a real estate attorney who can help you understand what you need to know about the title work that's was happening in the transaction when you're transferring the title out of the seller's name and then it's being recorded in your name. What does that mean? What are the costs that are associated with it, with that specific area? Because there could be a city tax, there could be a county tax, there could be a statewide tax, depending on where you are in the country. So make sure that you really are taking the time to understand fully what it is that you need on the legal side of things, and then just somebody that you can call and ask. Again, all 5 of these people should be people that you feel comfortable with so that you can ask them questions when things come up, and that they're not, making you feel stupid for asking. Because again, one of the barriers to us being able to move forward, to make good decisions in real estate, to build wealth through real estate, is being able to not be stuck behind the barrier of thinking, oh, I already know all about it, or someone else making you feel stupid for asking a question. So don't feel stupid, ask the question. I often say to my clients, when they're my real estate clients, I'll say, so if you have a question, ask it. If you've already asked it and you still don't understand, ask again. And then let's look at some examples of how that could be true or how that could not be true, just to make sure that you fully understand it, and then have you create some examples to make sure that we really get it. And one of the secrets in here, I'm going to slip in before the end of this episode, is also making sure that if you go past a word you don't understand, whether it's talking to a mortgage lender or whether it's talking to a lawyer or your real estate agent, make sure if there's any word you don't understand, don't just go past it. Ask, what does that word mean? And make sure you have examples so that you fully can duplicate that meaning and that you don't get lost into some confusion. It's very easy to get confused when you're a first-time home buyer. So again, I hope you'll build your A team. Those 5 people as a first-time home buyer are really important: real estate agent, your home inspector, your mortgage person, your insurance agent, insurance expert, and then the legal person. And for most people, this is going to be a real estate attorney. So I wish you all the best. And as I say, I hope you lift your voice and say, yay with me. Find a way to create yays in your life today. I am Jennifer Hammond.
Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You may know me as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And if you want more help in getting from where you are to where you want to be, I want to encourage you to listen to the Jennifer Hammond Show